Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. I got Riley Sidecar on with me here today. It is Tuesday, December 16th. We're going to jump right into South America weather. Boy, Riley, we're really just calendars moving along. Planting pace is all but done, which in South America means that we're also getting real close to starting harvest. So we've got corn and soybeans at about every stage of the game, from still in the bag to harvest and starting to think about second crop. So plenty to cover. But overall, things looks like we're kind of drying out a little bit, I guess. You know, it felt like Argentina was wet, wet, wet. And as so often happens, looks like we shut the rain off and probably are getting to the stage where we could use a little bit of rain down there. And South America, when you look at, I mean, Brazil, when you look at the maps, you know, we've had rain, but you got to keep in mind that they're a little accustomed to heavier rain on average than what we are. So I don't want to say that we're bullish by any means South America weather, but I don't know that it's the layup we've been looking at or hearing about as well either. So maybe some areas worth watching.
Exactly. There's a little bit of everything under the sun right now, Clint. So with that said, I'll just hop right into the map. So first thing, as always, want to put into perspective how big of an area we're talking about. So if you put all of Brazil and Argentina, if you take just Mato Grosso and put that on a US map, we're looking at almost the whole Midwest, guys. So huge area we're talking about here. And Clint and I were just talking about it when you're reading morning commentary from guys and they say, oh, good rains we're seeing over the weekend in South America. And then you look at it on a map and you go, oh, I guess that really wasn't that much. So
yeah, or it was in a very tiny area.
Yeah. So definitely a lot to think about. So going forward here, first thing I want to do is look at planting progress. First in Brazil, this is the easy one. Everything's about wrapped up, guys. Some stuff way down in the south that's still getting planted, but nothing surprising right now. Some regions down in southern Brazil that are still wrapping up, but nothing out of the ordinary. So the one where there's still a decent amount of planning going on is Argentina. Round 2 is fully underway now. And if you're looking at it on the beans side of things, a little bit behind average, 3% behind, but I definitely wouldn't say it's any story to be worried about yet, and nothing that's getting bulls wound up to start buying beans. And on the corn side of things, corn's actually ahead by 2%. So potentially a thought there that people are planting the corn before the beans, and that would explain the gap difference, but I don't want to speculate. So that said, move in here to the actual weather maps, 1 to 5 day temperatures. Brazil's about the same as it's been the last 2 weeks, guys. 70 and 80 degree temperatures across the board. So I don't know how you can talk a bullish storyline in terms of drought when the temperatures are in the low to mid 80s. So South America side in Argentina, though, this is where there is a little bit of a difference. This western region of Argentina has had pockets that have been in the low to mid 90s pretty consistently over the last 2 weeks. And there hasn't been a lot of rain there in about 10 days either. So I'm not saying there's a huge storyline there, but it's definitely worth watching, Clint. So with that said, 6 to 10 day temperatures, more of the same in Brazil, and Argentina actually looking to start cooling off a little bit in that northwest region. So that same area I just brought up looks like it's going to at least get back into the 80s and 70s. So moving forward here, looking at the last 2 weeks of rainfall, this is where Clint mentioned they're a lot more accustomed to big rains down there. You know, the last 2 weeks, if we saw 8 inches over 2 weeks in the Midwest, we'd be freaking out. That area would be way too wet. 8 inches in one shot in Brazil is not out of the ordinary. So these guys and their soil can handle it pretty well, and the water, it pretty much gets taken what can be taken, and the rest of it just flows right on down towards the ocean. So last 2 weeks of rainfall, Not a whole lot in the last week. Most of it was in that 10 to 14 days ago, especially here in northern Brazil. The recent rainfalls over the weekends were down here in this Mato Grosso do Sul and Paraná region. So looking at the last 2 weeks of rainfall for Argentina, very similar story. A lot of this was pushing 2 weeks ago. In the last 10 days, there's not been a lot of rain. So moving ahead here, next 1 to 5 days, Mato Grosso, Goiás, center west Brazil looking to get pretty solid rains that's going to keep any drought story from being drummed up. So northern Brazil, not a whole lot to talk about right now. As for the south, not a lot of rain in the forecast. If that's a trend that can continue, maybe we have to look at it closer. But as of right now, 80-degree temperatures and still some moisture. It's not like it's all gone. So I'm not crying for a drought story yet. And looking at Argentina, very similar story. Not a lot of rain, but they haven't had that much heat except for that northwest region. So overall, not a whole lot of fresh news here. 6 to 10 is where we're getting some more rain in the forecast, especially southern Brazil and that region that cuts into Paraguay, looking to get some heavier rains too, where they already just had some. So 6 to 10 days showing a lot more rain in the forecast, and combine that with moderate temps, Clint, and I don't see any bullish storylines. Crop looks pretty good in South America. That's all I got.
No, but not a lot of bullish storyline there. But that Argentina path, I'm pretty sure if you were farming down there, you're kind of getting a little antsy here, looking for some rain. So be interesting to see if those 6 to 10 day forecast pulls through. Certainly something worth keeping an eye on for. And from a market standpoint, I don't know that the downward trajectory we're on in soybeans right here and now is necessarily a function of South America weather, but it definitely as we're moving lower here, I guess good weather. Your storyline would be potentially to catch some traction here and maybe give us some support if we don't get some of them rains coming through, particularly as we start approaching some the more important parts of the growing season for a lot of that continent.
It's free. I'll transfer it.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
sorry, I apologize. I got a little bit lost here with some phone calls hopping in here, and there's some chaos going on in the office, but that happens in the brokerage world. Sometimes the phones come through. So I appreciate everybody tuning in again. Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sykard, Midwest Market Management. You can check that out on the website at midwestmarketmanagement.com. You can also call in and get these received via text message to your cell phone. So thanks a lot and have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.